Welcome back. Wall Street awaits Apple's latest quarterly earnings report on Wednesday, where we'll get a glimpse at the iPhone sales. Apple stock has been hot. It's up 17% just since the phone debuted. And the gadget, well, it's been hot with consumers as well as hackers. One research firm says it discovered a flaw that can compromise user information. Charles Miller, researcher for independent security evaluators, found the flaw. Also with us right now is Andrew Storms, director of security operations at network security firm nCircle, along with CNBC Silicon Valley bureau chief Jim Goldman. Nice to have you with us. Welcome to the program, everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Let me begin first on this flaw. Charles, tell us what you found.
Basically, we found that there's some problem in one of the applications on the iPhone, such that if a user goes to a website that an attacker controls, that attacker can gain complete control of their iPhone. So they can get all their personal information off it, all their text messages, all their mail, basically everything, and can even do things such as use the device to dial out and possibly even record conversations with it. So.
Well, now wait a second. This can be done elsewhere, though, right? I mean, isn't that an issue for a lot of devices where if you go to a website that is controlled by hackers, you can actually have emails sent out as spam to all the people in your Rolodex?
Well, only if there's a problem with the appliance, and we gave this information to Apple, and they're going to fix it up, so it's not a problem. But right now, it is a problem. So if you have a device or a computer that's fully patched, it shouldn't be a problem.
Jim, how did Apple respond?
Apple has said all along that this is a very security-conscious company, that if any issues are brought to its attention, of course, it will be addressed in some way very quickly. The company has said that if there is some kind of security issue with the iPhone, the company will be quick to issue some kind of software patch that will immediately correct this. It's an added issue for the company that users who spent all this money to go out and get one of these new devices, and you're reading the Apple response right there along with me, which is essentially what I just said. The idea here is that it's just an added thing that people will now have to do above and beyond having to activate their phone. They may have to also, somewhere down the road here very soon, have to download some kind of security patch. This is, sort of what happens when something becomes really popular, something that Apple hasn't had to deal with in the past, but it's really a kind of coming-of-age story, if you will, that the more popular Apple products become, the more likely they are that they'll be susceptible to some kind of hackers.
Andrew, is that true? Is that just a precedent, that this is just what happens?
Well, that's just it. Apple has not had the majority of the marketplace in the PCs. In a sense, they haven't been a big target for the hackers. Now we have the iPhone, sold 1 million in one weekend, and now it's a big target for all of them. They're looking at it.
But is it a common problem among smartphones, is what I'm asking? I mean, is this prevalent in other devices? Is this something that everybody needs to worry about, regardless of what device you have?
Well, these vulnerabilities found this weekend or released this weekend are specific to the Apple iPhone, though there are other vulnerabilities in other devices which have been made public.
Charles, tell me how you discovered the threats.
Basically, we thought about how so much personal information is stored on these devices, and we were concerned about it. So we took a hard look at it, and that's what we do for a living, is we evaluate these devices and software. And we pretty quickly found a problem, and it really only took us a couple days to know it was very serious. And basically a week after that, we had a fully functional exploit against it. So I was a little surprised at how easy it was.
So, and when you tried to go into some of these websites that were controlled by hackers, did your information was then controlled and accessible?
So I should say there were no hackers involved. It was just us. But if I did go with my iPhone to the site that we controlled, yes, all my information was downloaded to that site.
How big of an issue is this? I mean, what is Apple going to do about it? What can be done about it at this point? Charles?
We supplied, with the technical information we gave Apple, a patch that they could use. So hopefully they're gonna supply that to all the users. But there are some issues with their entire security architecture on the iPhone that they probably need to address.
Andrew, what about that? What do you think people should be doing if they have an iPhone and they're afraid of this, that their information is going to be accessible?
Well, they need to be selective about what it is they put on that device. All their private information could be potentially stolen. Bank account numbers, credit cards, Social Security. So A, be selective, and 2, be careful where you use the device. Public Wi-Fi networks aren't safe, and they should be treated as such.
Wi-Fi networks aren't safe. Jim, you agree with that? Tell me what people should be doing when dealing with these Wi-Fi networks.
Yeah, I think Andrew brings up a really good point, and we've had this issue with Wi-Fi ever since the technology first burst on the scene. The bottom line is this: people who are using these kinds of devices, you got to think that as long as you're connected, and I'm not talking wired to your laptop or your PC on a desktop somewhere, but anywhere, as long as you're connected to some kind of desktop, you got to be aware of the fact that there are these issues out there, that your material, your information on these devices could be accessible to others, and you got to make sure that you're constantly updating your security software and to make sure that when companies do issue patches, you download them. Don't take it for granted that somebody won't target you because, and a lot of people do. They walk down the street with one of these devices in their hands and they think, well, I'm not connected anywhere, so therefore I can't be targeted.
Right.
In fact, just because you are part of a Wi-Fi network, you can be a target if your software security is not updated. It's something that everybody's got to take under consideration.
No more secrets anymore, gentlemen. That's it. Good to have you with us. Thanks so much. We'll see you soon.
Thanks.
We appreciate it.